All right, we're turning to the breaking news out of the NBA, where the Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier and Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups are under arrest this morning in connection with federal sports betting investigations. According to three sources with direct knowledge of the matter, members and associates of organized crime groups are also among the couple of dozen individuals expected to face criminal charges in two separate illegal gambling.
It's tough when the FBI come after you federal cases. That means they have a statutory right not to charge unless they feel good that they can get a conviction. Now, not to make this political video, now this new administration have been doing a lot of charges against the current administration's political rivals. And so they may have been stretching that all lately, but this is not the NBA is not a political rival of the current administration. Unless it's something out there that I just don't know about. I'm just blind to the obvious. Maybe they don't like the NBA's forward facing report of, black issues. But I don't really know the current political status between the current administration and NBA. So this is one of the most recent FP federal lockdowns, crackdowns against a non-political party. It's a lot of smaller ones, but this is one of the most notable, recent notable. All the other recent ones has been like the administration's enemies. That's a whole nother video that I'm not gonna get into because this is not a political show. So I'm reacting to what's going on. I had to see Chauncey Billups in this situation. I love watching Chauncey Billups back with the Nuggets. You know what I'm saying? And he won a championship. Who he won a championship with? The Nets? I can't remember. Y'all correct me in the comments. So we're gonna keep reacting this. I'm turning to Wayne House, by the way. I don't have my lawyer suit on, but I am a lawyer. I have my lawyer suit on and probably the next round of videos. I gotta get a haircut and stuff.
Related cases. Rozier has previously been linked to unusual betting patterns surrounding his play, specifically during the 2023 season with the Charlotte Hornets. Charges for Billups appear to be related to an illegal poker operation. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn and FBI Director Kash Patel are scheduled to hold a news conference on the cases at the top of the hour. Joining us now, New York.
Now recently I done a video. Gilbert Arenas, he was arrested on like poker game charges. But his situation, he says that he just rented his house out to somebody. He didn't know they was having a poker game. So I think in that case, he may get off. I don't know the details of Chauncey's situation. I hope it's not as bad as this player is saying like he been alleged of throwing games. And I seen a highlight video on Twitter and they like, yeah, how you were playing? It seemed kind of obvious that he was throwing games. But with Chauncey, man, I would hate to see this because hey, this is the fan. This is not a turn to Wayne House talk. This is the fan. I hate to see. I was a fan of that niggas table, Meadows, Chauncey, J.I., William Martin. Oh man, I was Chauncey. But hey, you gotta be better than that. Don't put yourself in those positions to get in trouble. Allegedly, he hasn't been convicted. You guilty. I mean, you innocent until proven guilty.
York Magazine contributing editor and Washington Post columnist Will Leach with the latest. And also, what do you make of the news, Will?
I mean, it is. If it's not, they're saying these investigations are separate but related, which
Right.
I think speaks to how kind of wide ranging this is. This is the second time that Rozier has been a part of something. To me, the larger thing, the fact that Billups, he's a coach. Like there's also.
Yeah, what is Rozier got going on here, man? I don't know. I don't even know much about him honestly. I watch basketball, but I don't know much about Rozier.
assistant coach Damon Jones, who's involved in this as well. The fact that this is not the first time that Rozier has been involved. This has not been the first NBA situation. This has not been the first sports situation. Remember, Emmanuel Clase, the closer for the Cleveland Guardians, was unable to play the end of the season and in the playoffs because he's currently involved in a gambling investigation involved in as well with Major League Baseball. This is something that a lot of people have been warning about for a long period of time. Not just when gambling was made legal, at least states were unable to make it illegal, but also when leagues themselves have jumped really full feet. You watch these games on the FanDuel network, and there are broadcasts.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like these leagues, NFL, all of them, not just NBA, they are really, really heavily pushing gambling on these games because there's a lot of money involved. And all my friends doing it. I don't gamble on games yet. I'm not gonna lie, like I haven't thought about it. I just haven't done it yet. But a lot of these leagues are heavily pushing gambling on this stuff, and they're just not doing it. I mean, and not doing it, but they're really pushing it. And so he's right about that. They're pushing that gambling tough, pushing gambling with fans tough.
Caster saying, "Hey, if you want to get a little action on this game right now, on this free throw that's coming up, particularly when you come to the Rozier thing. Rozier is the thing involving micro betting, which is the idea you bet on what's going to happen to the next player, how many assists they're going to get, in something that is very ripe for corruption. I think we've seen that multiple times with him."
Okay, forgive me but I mean, it just seems like gambling in sports, and you just mentioned, that it seems very much hand in hand. So what makes it illegal? What crosses the line here, and how do these cases that we're just hearing about potentially play into that?
Well, because the players themselves are not allowed to do this, and and very clearly, the thing that was worrisome with Emmanuel Clase, for example.
I didn't mention it, but it kind of goes out saying the players are not allowed to gamble on any sport, any sport.
Investigation that's still going on in Major League Baseball, he was accused of, like, the first pitch he would throw would be a ball or a strike, and people were able to bet on whether or not it would be a ball or a strike. That's one of the issues that a lot of people have with micro betting. We've seen players banned from the league permanently for this, with the idea of get a certain number of rebounds. If you can bet under 5 rebounds, and then he pulls a hamstring at the beginning of the game and can't play the rest of the game. You're seeing things like these things are generally flagged. There are groups that keep an eye on that. That's actually how Rozier was caught on this, is there are gambling groups that keep an eye on this stuff. Now, the Billups thing is different. That does appear to, it's related, but it does appear to be involved to a poker ring. But again, that's the coach of a team. These things are, any athlete that's involved in this, particularly in their own sport, it's a very, very.
I think Chauncey has already stepped down, or he has been suspended. I think they already named a new interim coach for the Trailblazers.
Dangerous thing.
Isn't this, in many ways, though, an issue of what it does to the fans, the consumer?
Side note, I need to do a video on this guy. It just came out that Al Sharpton has been uh has been released to the public. That Al Sharpton is like a known informant of a lot of people. Well, a lot of people probably got caught up, which is crazy. So I'm gonna do a video on that too to react to that.
Who are buying tickets, who are supporting something that is lucrative, that is really being fixed, and ultimately they're the victims, not the teams. The victims are really the sports fans that are paying for what they think is fair, or that has no leaning either way.
Now he asked a great question, like, ultimately fans would believe that this fits and that could really diminish the NBA brand. The NBA's brand has been diminishing lately over, the style of players now. It's a 3-point league now. It's not a dunking league anymore. And so this could add more fuel to the NBA's demise.
Yeah, there's no question. There's a lot of things that sports can survive, whether it's a steroid scandal or labor issues. One thing you do have to generally, everyone has to agree on, though, is that the games are on the level. At a certain level, everything falls apart if you don't have if that fundamental understanding. Everyone is just playing to try to win these games with no financial motive or somehow trying to lose or taking a fall or anything like that. That's the scary thing about it. This has been, again, the thing that people have worried about with gambling for a very long time.
That is correct. That is correct. I agree with him 1000%. And also, there's lots of times athletes have been found to be gambling. They are usually banned from competing for that league. What's that guy who used to play for the Nuggets? I can't remember his name, and he shoot real good for three. But he got traded recently. His brother recently got found gambling, and he got banned. Michael Porter, Michael Porter Jr. I don't know his brother name, Joey Porter, something like that. His brother got banned for gambling. That was a really good segment. I appreciate that. It wasn't political. They was really talking about the facts and what happened. And so let's watch and react to one more video about this situation. I like this one. Professional gambler explains Chauncey Billups gambling. I don't know this guy's credentials. Shoot, y'all don't know mine, but I am a lawyer. I got my degrees on the wall, so I got that much. I am a licensed attorney. How do I know he's a professional gambler? Let's see. Let's watch this one.
NBA head coach Chauncey Billups and NBA player Terry Rozier are among 34 people charged with committing a multi-million-dollar gambling scheme. The charges range from various sports betting-related activity all the way to illegal poker games that were using cheating devices in order to
I like this. He had a copy of the complaint, the complaint in this case.
scam people out of their money playing in these games with famous athletes. My name is Doug Polk. I'm one of the best gamblers in the world, most specifically in poker, so I can break down exactly what all of this means to you if you're looking for a more inside information way of understanding this story.
Okay, he said his credentials. Poker. I'm sorry, I didn't know you guys, but now I know you, man, and I respect you. More power to you.
Subscribe for the latest from my channel. Okay, so here's what we know so far. 34 people have been arrested and charged. This spans over 11 states and involves tens of millions of dollars. FBI Director Kash Patel called these arrests historic, saying it's not hundreds of dollars, it's not thousands of dollars,
not 4,
it's not tens of thousands of dollars,
not 5,
it's not even millions of dollars,
not 6, not 7.
We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation. The alleged fraud is historic in terms of money and deceit used to steal and swindle, including crypto fraud. There are two separate cases going on here, and we want to think about them each individually. The first is the sports betting case. In this case, there are 6 people accused of an insider sports conspiracy that exploited information about athletes and their teams and used that information.
I just don't understand the new sports betting while you playing because I understand you're not a top guy getting 15, $20 million a year or even superstar getting 40 million a year. But I don't know the league minimum off the top of my head, but I'm assuming it's at least $1 million a year. Let's say it's 500, 600,000 a year. So after tax, you get like 200, 300,000 a year. You can't be greedy. 300, 400,000 a year after tax, that's still a good living. So to do stuff like this, think of some other hustles, man. Don't gamble and lose the golden goose of making that 300,000, 400,000 a year while you can, and potentially end up making, becoming a solid role player, making 10 to 15 million a year, or even become a solid role player. You end up out of the league 2, 3 years. You at least made a small bag, 400, 500 million dollars a year. But I think the minimum's got to be close to a million NBA. It's not worth it.
To win money gambling. U.S. Attorney Joseph Nocella Jr. called it one of the most brazen sports corruption schemes since online sports betting became widely legalized in the United States. The second case is about rigged poker games where 31 defendants were using technology and athletes to lure people in and cheat them out of a lot of money in these high-stakes poker games. We're going to talk about both these stories, and I'm going to give you some in-depth analysis on the poker side. But let's talk about the sports betting side first. So in sports betting, you guys might know about this. You can bet on all kinds of different things: the game, the total, how players perform. And the problem with that is that if a player then decides to essentially go to the dark side here, they can bet.
These the highlights I was seeing. That's the guy, not Chauncey, but the other guy who's been charged. Shoot, I forgot his name already. It's like he's literally throwing games away. Look, too obvious.
Against themselves, knowing they can ensure that they won't hit certain statistics. This is something we've known for a long time. In fact, it's not even just NBA players that can do this. NBA refs can as well, where there was a gigantic story on this about 20 years ago from an NBA ref who was cheating using this method. That ref's name was Tim Donaghy, and in 2007, the FBI launched an investigation into Donaghy where they discovered that he was involved in match fixing.
Wow, I didn't know about that. I heard about. Me and my wife did watch a documentary about a guy in college who used to fix games in college, but it's my first time hearing about this NBA ref.
But back to this Rozier case. Here's what makes this story especially bad. In late June, Shams reported that Heat guard Terry Rozier was cleared after betting investigation. So the NBA looked into Terry Rozier and said, yep, this guy's good. Then the FBI did and said, not so fast. Rumor has it after being cleared of wrongdoing, Terry said to local authorities, cash me if you can. One of the games in question happened.
Cash Patel be looking so amped up in every photo. Man, he on a bunch of red bulls.
In 2023, Terry Rozier had an early exit from the game while he was playing with the Hornets. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch went on to say that Rozier told a group that he planned to leave a game early on March 23, 2023, while he was playing with the Hornets. Quote, using that information, members of the group placed more than $200,000 in wagers on his under statistics. Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit. The proceeds were later delivered to his home, where the group counted their cash. By all accounts, this is one of the dumbest stories I've ever heard. In the 2023 season, Terry Rozier was making $23 million playing basketball.
Oh my gosh. I did not know this much about Terry Rozier. You on a $20 million salary after taxes, probably like 10, 11. Good. Oh my goodness. Wow.
$50,000 a game, yet was then trying to make tens of thousands of dollars on the side that he has to chop up with his friends. And the reason we know it wasn't even 100K is the article says tens of thousands. So clearly this was something that was like 70 or 80K. Imagine making $250,000 for one night of work, and then you do something illegal that jeopardizes your entire career to make like 25K on the side. What are we doing? But it might not just be that one incident.
You gotta learn how to make good decisions. You gotta learn how to make good decisions.
Causing issues for Terry Rozier and other defendants. According to the indictment, Rozier and other defendants, quote, had access to private information known by NBA players or NBA coaches that was likely to affect the outcome of games or players' performances, and provided that information to other co-conspirators in exchange for either a flat fee or a share of betting profits. Viewers of ESPN's Get Up show saw this hilarious incident where a gambling ad in the bottom right of the show mysteriously just disappears.
This is crazy.
Moving to case number 2, the poker cheating side of this story. And we've got to start off here with the official document of these names, because guys, this is incredible. We see NBA coaches on here like Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones, but we also have some wild nicknames, like Nelson Alvarez, known as Spanish G, Louis Apicella, known as Lou App, and Amar Awadawa, known as Flapper Poker, or just Flappy. To be honest, if my name was Amar Awadawa, I might go with Flappy too. Eric Ernest, known as Spook. Matthew Didino, known as The Wrestler. That one's fitting because after these arrests, he's going to be down for the count. We've also got Black Rob, Doc, Pookie, Jay, and John South. Hell of a lineup. We've got a lot of people on this list, including Curtis Meeks, who's a player who actually played on my poker show at my card room in Austin, Texas Lodge Card Club. Allegations of cheating in Chauncey Billups games are not new. In fact, we first saw this a few years ago where on a poker podcast.
I did not know that. I did not know you meant allegations of him cheating on poker, illegal poker games. I don't know, man. I think that gambling has been such an ingrained in NBA culture for so long amongst the players, not on the games, gambling on games and stuff, or throwing games like the other guy. But you can listen to MJ in interviews talk about how much he loved gambling, and it was a joke. I mean, it was on a Last Dance when he was gambling with one of the people in the back on how far he could throw a quarter or something. I don't know what they were playing, but they was gambling. And it was a joke on Saturday Night Live about that. So it's part of the culture, but at what point does it become illegal? And I guess this is the point when you doing fraud or even conspiracy to do fraud. I guess Chauncey Billups' defense would be like, I didn't know these games were illegal. I didn't know these people were cheating. But if being ignorant of the law is not a defense, however, means rea, it means intent. You gotta have intent to do these things. So if he can prove that he didn't have the intent to defraud people, have an intent that these games were illegal, then he may get off or get charges reduced.
By Matt Berkey, we saw this conversation happen in real time.
There was this game. It started in LA and then it came to Vegas for a few days, and it was all built around Chauncey Billups. And I had heard about the game, and the person who told me about it was like, "Look, I know the game runners. I'm telling you 100% this game is on the up and up." And I was like, "Well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not on the up and up."
Yeah.
And we kind of went back and forth, and I agreed that like I just wasn't going to go play it, but I had some friends who went and played it both in LA and in Vegas, and it obviously like was for sure confirmed to be cheated. Mm-hmm. Like people who clearly didn't even understand the rules of No Limit Hold'em are just like jamming hundreds of big blinds in with like a gutty and then just drilling it. Only the pros are losing.
It's wild. It could be so well known. It's even on a public podcast that long ago, and still it takes years for anything to actually
that's crazy.
Happen about it. But back to the matter at hand. How do you cheat in poker? Well, there are so many ways, and let me break it down for you. The most old school way people would cheat is they would mark the back of cards, usually high cards like aces. So you would know who was dealt an ace, and then you could fold when they raised or go after them when they didn't have one of those cards. Over time, cheating got more sophisticated. In fact, sometimes they would use an ink and then have glasses to see that ink where only the person with those glasses could recognize it. There were also other simple ways of cheating, like two players could signal back and forth using hand signals or location.
I don't know anything about poker. I don't know anything about cheating on poker. So this stuff is blowing my mind. Like the cards, the glasses, that's on another level right there.
Of their arms to let the other player know what cards they had in that hand. But over time, cheating has gotten more sophisticated. Like, for example, we saw a case on Stone's Gambling Hall where allegedly a player won several $100,000 by looking at his crotch over 2 years of poker live streams. Breaking down that story is actually the biggest video in the history of this channel with over 4 million views. And if you want to watch it, I'll put a link below. But the cliff notes are, on some poker shows, the back has access to the cards and then sends it to a player at the table, and they can use that to then beat you out of money by knowing your exact cards while you're at the table. Poker is not a game you can beat someone if they know your cards. The worst player will always win because they know when they're ahead and they know when they're behind. But we've also seen the rise of a new form of cheating being used over the course of the last few years, where a shuffling machine that shuffles the cards is used to cheat players out of money at the table. I believe this is what's being used in these Chauncey Billups games.
There's actually a camera inside the shuffler, and it will read the cards.
And it's kind of funny because it's put in there for security purposes.
That camera will know every card's location, and it can transmit to another player knowing which cards will go where, and
That is crazy. Like, I think I was telling my wife earlier, like, you just talk about people in general doing business. Like, there's so many people out here that be trying to get over, try to scam, don't know how to do business, ignorant to doing business. It's just crazy. Crazy. You gotta be careful out here. They'll rob you. Casino rob you legally, then this rob you illegally. So be careful out there, y'all. This is wild.
everything in the entire deck based on what's in your hand, and you can use that to know who will win a hand. You can know who will win the hand before the cards are even out there. When you have this technology, you cannot lose. So now that we know how it works, the camera knows the cards and you know who's going to win. How do they get all of these people together? So typically this is what they do. You have a celebrity come into a game, a player that everyone thinks will be bad at poker. And when you know they're going to go, then other people will sit down to go play with them. And then you have a few people that are professional players who play quite seriously that will join the game to win money. And usually the idea is to try and target those people that are there to make a living playing poker, because generally speaking, they're going to pay their debts as it is their profession. I saw in this story that they called the bad players fish or whales, which is true. And normally we call good players sharks. But they also said these celebrities or athletes were known as face cards. I've never heard of that in my entire life, but what do I know? I've only been in the poker world for 2 decades. You might think it's pretty rare for these high stakes games to run where people are being cheated out of hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, but that is actually not the case. They happen quite frequently. In fact, we had a big one that happened last year in Los Angeles. In this wild tale, players were actually marking cards, and certain players lost large amounts of money before.
Man, people know you got it. They looking. They waiting on you to slip, and they gonna attack that. Man, I seen it happen so many times. Just being out here in the world, and we all been a victim of it one way or another. Whether you go a woman going to a car shop and getting sold extra repairs to somebody selling you something and it's fake. So man, I didn't know it was this real. I'm not. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but man, this is real.
Realizing it, and then players went into hiding. There were gambling syndicates, there was mafia ties. This crazy story happened in 2024 and did not even involve any poker celebrities. There are sometimes other problems with these home games as well, like for example, taking an illegal cut of the money known as the rake and using that for profit. In fact, we saw a giant story with Gilbert Arenas break where he was raking games and making money illegally and got busted by the feds. Gilbert Arenas was
As mentioned earlier, I did a video on this about a month ago, so y'all check it out.
arrested and charged with operating an illegal gambling business out of his Encino, California mansion, where high-stakes poker games were allegedly held from September 2021 to July 2022. The operation allegedly involved a house cut of every pot, which is called a rake, staffed by dealers, chefs, valets, and women who served drinks and provided massages. Prosecutors of the case are using a photo of a poker table with Arenas Poker Club as part of its case. Now, to be fair, this is not saying that he cheated, it's saying he ran an illegal game, which are different and in my opinion is less morally bad. You're not cheating people out of money, you're just running a game that is in violation of your local laws. That story happened in late July, and some people are now speculating that Gilbert Arenas may have ratted out Chauncey Billups as a way to perhaps lighten his sentencing in his case coming up. Is that true or not? We do not know, but certainly those rumors are swirling. But back to this story. Going
I know Gilbert Arenas ain't snitched. Now he have done jokes that he snitched.
through the document here, we can see exactly what they were using, and it does appear to be the rigged shuffling machines. Rigged shuffling machines were secretly altered to use concealed technology to read the cards in the deck, predict which player at the table had the best poker hand, and relay that information via interstate wires to an off-site operator. The operator then communicated that information by cellular telephone to a member of the cheating team seated at the rigged game poker tables, referred to as the quarterback or driver, who used secret signaling to share the information with the other members of the cheating teams playing in the rigged games. This document contains many, many examples of rigged games that were being run over the.
How do prosecutors plan on proving that Chauncey Billups know that these guys were number one illegal and rigged? I don't know. I don't know. They gotta have some witness to testify. Gotta have some documents, photos, camera footage. Mainly, they have to have some kind of witness to testify, maybe text messages, something showing that Chauncey knew that these games were rigged and illegal. What you guys think? Y'all comment below. How you think the prosecutors will prove these Chauncey knew?
Course of the years. And the people that they stole from are listed as John Doe, so we don't know all of the names of the people that were cheated. But it has so many people implicated here. It's crazy that a cheating ring of this magnitude was able to run without a leak. I'm actually just kind of impressed they even managed to do that. According to Point 44, overall, from approximately April 2019 to the present, the rigged poker scheme caused losses to the victims of at least $7.1 million. That is a gigantic amount to win cheating. Except when you realize Chauncey Billups made over $100 million in his basketball career and has made millions since then coaching in the NBA.
Exactly. It all goes back to that. You're a head coach. Why are you taking money to be a face of a gambling league? Now, I know there are a lot of athletes are like Shaq and other people. A lot of athletes are and celebrities are the face of online gambling, sports betting. I would bet those people are following the rules more in this private gambling league. It's crazy.
$7 million. You're going to chop that up 34 ways? I mean, what are we doing here, guys? Also in this document, it mentions, in addition, on one occasion, several of the defendants conspired to steal a rig shuffling machine from John Doe number 7, where a bunch of defendants conspired to commit and committed a gunpoint robbery of John Doe number 7 to steal a specific model of rigged shuffling machines. That's one game you don't want to get dealt in under the gun. I had to do at least one bad poker joke. So what counts are going into this? We have wire fraud conspiracy, operation of an illegal gambling business, 2 counts on that. Money laundering conspiracy, Hobbs Act extortion conspiracy, 2 counts on that. There are so many details here and so much more to come forward. And with all of this swirling in the background, at a press conference yesterday from Chauncey Billups, he had this to say.
That pressure thing is nothing to me, man. I do the best I can and let the chips fall where they may. You know that about me by now, quick.
I've got some bad news, Chauncey, because to me, it looks like those chips are falling.
All right. That was a great video. I really enjoyed that. Doug Poker. I think I'm going to subscribe. I really enjoyed that video, man. I learned a lot about gambling. I learned a lot about illegal poker machines. I learned a lot about how crazy and wow how these people are scheming out here. Like I don't think I ever play a private poker game now ever. I don't play poker. If I ever start playing poker, it's probably not going to be private. So the legal takeaway here is that we are in very beginning stages. However, FBI cases are, lots of time not these people, the FBI builds a good case before they charged. And so it's pretty serious charges. And Chauncey and this other guy, Rozier, Rozier needs to have a great, great defense team to beat these charges. These are way more serious than the ones that Gilbert Arenas got, and that he's still currently fighting. And so I'm gonna be watching this case. I look forward to keep watching this. It seems like it's gonna be a very interesting case. And I just feel like, man, at the end of the day, it's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. You making all this money this year, it's not worth it for this issue chump change. And you gotta make smart decisions. If you're gonna be the face of a league, be the face of a sports betting company or a big casino, not a private game. Maybe he thought it was legit. I don't know. We will see how this plays out. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned a thing or two. I certainly have learned a thing or two. And if you still made this far, hey, subscribe to this video, and I will see y'all on the next one.